When I said I was molested, a lot of people were doubting. And it was hurtful that many of them were guys. In fact, the women never doubted me, but the guys did. But I'm happy because I'm beginning to see a lot of guys, speak out. I've gotten a lot of messages on my DM, and I know Frodd actually saw my video, and as a result of that, he was bold enough to put out his own story there. This is from Frodd. Frodd said, as a child, I was physically molested from the age of 5 to about 9. And I told you mine was like from 4 till about the years of the time the girl stayed with us. So apparently you're talking like, and you expect such person not to remember. Okay, let's go to about 9 by different house helps. That's to tell you that hmm, hmm, different house help, different calibers of persons, one trait, which is molestation trait. This thing is so common that in the midst of 100 house helps, 95 are guilty of this thing. You may never know, but we move on. I'm not saying there is no good house helps. I'm not saying there is no good nanny, but do not put the whole of your trust on a human being. Learn to work with CCTV cameras in your house. Learn to work with recorders. Learn to get clocks that are camera. Learn to get these things. Except for the lady that nurtured me at my baby stage, Auntie Chinae. Yeah, he had to single-handedly remove Auntie Chinae so that people would not start thinking. Trust me, we know the uncles that were good when we were growing up. We know the uncles that were bad when we were growing up. There are uncles that I have that I will never introduce my wife to that uncle when I get married. Walai, my female kids can never, even my male kids. Me and my brother were even discussing about that uncle as of yesterday. Let's move on. The rest may be reading this, or they may be in different parts of the world. Plus a certain neighbor. When your little boy or girl starts becoming attracted or irritated to a big auntie or uncle, watch those aunties well. We couldn't speak then because parents didn't give us that relationship and they never read the room. That's the truth. That is the truth. Now, this is Frodd's own advice, which mine also comes the opposite. When a boy child, is so addicted, this was my own case, to a house help that he refuses his mom from beating him. It must be that house help that must beat him. There's a problem. At that point, don't say anything. Don't argue. Just put a secret camera in the toilet. Just for the period of whenever she's beating that boy. Put a secret camera in the toilet. Try it for 1 or 2 weeks. And if nothing happens, give her the credit. Then it's natural love. Most times, as a result of you not even knowing what the word is, bonding is a very spiritual thing. It doesn't matter how small a child is. There's a kind of connection that comes with bonding. So imagine if there's a connection with bonding and the activities that comes around that bonding is negative, molestation activities. You can imagine how much of a trauma that child will grow with when they grow up to realize that this thing is actually a bad thing. As I'm talking to you, a lot of you need to start interviewing your kids. No jokes. Sit down with them, ask them questions. Those questions you think that they are too small to know, dare them. I dare you to dare them. Obviously, you as a parent don't even know close to what they know. I dare you to dare them. Do you know that your house help plays porn on your TV, YouTube, with your kids when you're not around? You may not know. But I'm telling you, a lot of this is the essence of camera in your house, in your absence, even in your presence, because you can be in the room and things they saw for parlor. You need camera. Nothing you want to tell me. There's nothing you want to tell me. You need camera. Okay? And this was for Frodd. Frodd, thank you for sharing. At least when I saw this, I got that positive energy of, yes, I think my story is flying. I mean, people are beginning to tap into it. And a lot of celebrities out there, man. If you have stories that can help them to come out of depression or likely situation as yours, share it. Don't hold back. That your story can actually help. You never can tell. Another person sent me something, which I would keep the person anonymous because he said he will share his story someday. But he came to my DM and he said, "Good evening from here, Mr. Frodd. I listened to your story about molestation and I could relate to it 100. It may sound like you are not being honest about that story, but I pray their kids do not make them believe it. Personally, I had the same experience between ages 7 and 9. So I said mine was age 4 to 7. Frodd said his own was 5 to 9. This person is saying 7 to 9. So apparently, is it that the targeted market is from 4 to 9 or 10? I really need to understand. Or is it that at that age, this child do not know what it means to report? Because I didn't see myself reporting anybody. It's when I grew mature that I knew those things were rubbish. You understand my point? We move. I shared the story with my wife one time and she was amazed. Bro, you are absolutely right. I am very close to 40 years now, but I could still recall the entire episode as if it's happening right now. I have a kind of telegraphic memory. Even as I am typing this very message, the whole thing is playing in my head like I'm watching a movie. That is the kind of memory I have. The same thing happened to me while I was sharing the story. It was like I was seeing it real. And, it is what it is. Let's move on. So I believe your story completely. In my case, I know the auntie, she is still alive. I even told my wife that if I wish to press charges against her today, I swear I can convince the court beyond reasonable doubt. She probably might have forgotten, but in my head, it's still very, very fresh. Keep up the good work. Maybe someday I'll share my story. Well, thank God everybody is becoming mature to understand. But this is a thing. Somebody asked me, why is it like people that have been molested when they were small grow up and after a long while they forget about the molestation and don't want to talk about it? Let me tell you something. A lot of times, these people that got these people molested, we grew up to find out that they have changed. You see most of them now preaching on the altar. You see most of them, you just feel like this person is now living a responsible life. You just see this person and you don't want to be the one to want to come and fight, want to come and, hurt this person, after everything. But it still depends on the individual. You understand? Sometimes people just choose to allow God to, fight and be the judge. Most times people decide to take laws into their hands. And when there's no evidence, there's no need. Sometimes when there's no evidence, the only thing you need to do is to pour out your mind so that you can be at peace. At the end of the day, the experiences a lot of millennials had during their younger stage, I'm telling you the truth, we've not shared 1/3 of it. Everybody is just forming, acting like nothing happened to them when they were growing up. That's not fair. But even if you don't want to share, do not mock people that share theirs. Learn from the story so that your children would not convince you to believe them since you don't want to believe us. It is now normal for guys to go through molestation and don't talk about it. The society has made us to believe that raping a guy or molesting a guy, it's like a privilege to them. Come on, you had sex with me without my consent. Without my consent. You didn't talk about it.